In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the upcoming pattern. We do have a few severe weather threats that we need to track here, of course, and then a major Arctic blast that is going to hit and stick around for quite a while. We do expect cold conditions to prevail through even May 1st. So we're going to be talking all about that throughout this video. As we take a look here at our first little frame here, we can see some storminess moving in across a lot of your plains, Ohio Valley, and deeper south actually as well. And even as we reach towards this afternoon and evening, we're going to see this very strong low prevailing over the upper Midwest, bringing some snowfall here on the western and northern extent. We can see the warm front stretching. It's a pretty weak warm front, but we do see it stretching. And then we see a cold front here that is bringing some thunderstorm and shower activity along that area. Definitely a very interesting storm, and it looks a lot more powerful than it is, which doesn't mean that there's not going to be bad impacts, but overall, the storm itself is not an extremely strong low by any means. It does stick around for quite a while, actually, and continue to bring snowfall to your more upper Midwest, Great Lakes area here. Very, very interesting. As we move towards tomorrow afternoon, we can see that that is around. We see storm number 2 actually around for the Northwest here, so this is storm number 1, storm number 2. And let's just keep this going because it's pretty boring by this point. We see a lot happening as far as low pressure here, kind of like a trilogy of low pressure systems here happening. One over Nevada, one over Texas, one over South Dakota. This is kind of just going to be broad low pressure though around. Nothing is very organized yet. And we actually see one come together by the time we're taking a look at Wednesday afternoon. And this is going to be our main one we're watching here. Jet stream by this point is doing about like this. We see a lot of ridging happening here in the central and eastern United States by about midweek to late week. We're going to see this really taking hold here, and then this cold air pouring in behind the low. So this is already setting up to be a pretty intense look. As we see that eastern Colorado low move over the central United States, this is when we need to watch it closely because it's a 999 over Iowa. We see this cold front stretching down, warm front right about here. We're going to see the warm air surging here for Thursday into Friday, but severe weather is going to be a likelihood for a lot of these areas. As we move this towards Friday afternoon, we really see those thunderstorms hitting Friday morning into afternoon. This severe weather happening in these areas is going to be something to watch for sure. As again, just like all our bad severe weather setups we've seen so far this year, we have the warm surging air out ahead of the cold front with the cold air pouring in behind with the cold front. Never a recipe for anything good when you see this type of a setup, and sure enough, this is what we're looking at here. So this is going to be a very interesting weather pattern to track here. As we reach towards Saturday, we can see a lot of this storminess reaches the East Coast. Actually, it's going to be a pretty nasty day. Not only is it going to be a massive cool down from what we've been seeing, so we see the jet stream doing about like this, allowing that cold air to really move in for this point. Not only that, it's also very dreary, very stormy, very rainy, and very cool. So overall, a very nasty day there on Saturday, April 22nd. Now for Sunday, the 23rd, the nice thing is that it's not very nasty anymore, but it is also very bitterly cold as this major Arctic blast takes place. And again, I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. Arctic blast does not mean that it's going to be 30 degrees. What it does mean is that an Arctic air mass is moving in. So you're going to see people in the comments saying, that's not an Arctic blast. That's, it's not cold enough to be an Arctic blast. But really, I didn't say it's a 30-degree blast. I said it's an Arctic blast. So that's kind of been my point that I've always said. But that is what we're expecting at this point. By Monday, what we see is another storm is building through the west. So we're going to need to watch this next system. As you can see, we see general storminess throughout all of these areas. Still a lot of cold in the east, though. We're going to have to see how this transitions. But we see it kind of diving southward here from this point, which is going to bring an interesting dynamic. I'm going to show you this motion again. We see that storminess just kind of diving southward with the jet stream, which is not a usual motion for this area at all, or at least not something that we've seen very much of this year. Definitely this southerly flow is going to be very interesting to track because it is a big switch up. As you can see, we see a very strong low developing actually between New Mexico and Texas, and this brings a lot of snowfall here to the Rockies. This is going to be something to track for sure, as this definitely brings heavy snowfall with it. So we'll take a look at the total snowfall in a minute. First off, I want to show you guys the total precipitation here. As you can see through the Northwest and the Rockies, we do see quite a bit. It's a little bit less than we've been seeing, but still quite a bit here. We can see through a lot of your central United States where we're going to see the storms rising up in the beginning of the model run. And towards the end of the model run, we're going to see them diving south through here. That is going to be an area to watch for a lot of activity in there. Not only that, but the Northeast as well is seeing quite a bit of our storminess over the next 10 days. Now, as I told you guys, let's take a look at that total snowfall here. We see a lot more actually for the Rockies and the Cascades here than we've seen over the last week or so. Not only that, the upper Midwest and south central regions of Canada are seeing feet of snowfall, 10 inches plus there in the pinks. Pastel blue is going to be 20 inches plus, and pastel pinks are going to be 30 inches plus. Certainly a ton of snowfall compared to what's typical for this time of year. Not only that, look at the east, look at the Appalachian Mountains. Snowfall happening in the Appalachian Mountains in late April. Well, that's what this model is showing. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if this comes to be true or not. As we take a look at our GFS model, I just want to kind of compare a couple of these storms. We see this major storm late this week. We see this cold front is a lot more extended here than we saw in the European model. Certainly still would feature potential thunderstorms and severe weather along it, but it is a lot more elongated there. And we see another low take over by the time we're reaching Saturday the 22nd and moves up into the same area. And then this one looks a lot stronger for Saturday afternoon. So if this type of a solution happens, I bet there could be a 1-2 punch here with this severe weather and thunderstorms along that line. Still going to be something to really, really watch there. We see that Arctic blast moves in and it stays in. That is what this model is trending towards. We do see some storminess prevailing through the midweek in the eastern United States. Potentially some nor'easter activity, late spring nor'easter activity by the weekend of the 27th, 28th, 29th there of April. But overall, we still see colder conditions in the east all the way towards May 1st. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I expect those cold conditions to prevail through the end of the month and into the beginning of next month. Sure enough, that is what we're seeing here. Now, as we take a look at the temperature anomalies, we can see things are warm in the east, but that is not going to last very long. We see the warmth here, but the cold is coming quick, and it is very intense. So we're going to see this very quickly here move in by the time we're reaching the weekend here, or actually kind of the early week. So just by Monday, Tuesday, tomorrow into Tuesday, we see a lot of cold moving into the east here. We already see a ridge developing across the central United States, though, so we see this rising up, but another trough behind it. So we have this really quick transitioning pattern that looks very, very intense. We can see this warmth tries to resurge into the east by the time we're reaching about the weekend, so Friday, Saturday, just in time for that severe weather event. But we see this Arctic blast comes crashing down in a big way. These temperatures here are certainly Arctic cold. This is going to be 15 to 25 degrees below what's your average. So 25, for instance, if your average temperature was 100, you'd be at 75. So that is a dramatic departure from what's typical. That's room temperature to blazing is the difference there. But we're taking a look at maybe an average temperature of 50, for instance, up in Minnesota and North Dakota. That's going to be 25. So, there's big differences here that we need to pay attention to, but this is going to be a very, very intense Arctic blast, and it's going to keep going all the way through the end of the run here on April 26th. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Sorry if my energy is low. I'm going on vacation, like I mentioned. All the videos for the next 10 days after this, or at least 9 days, are going to be pre-made long-range videos, so I hope you guys enjoy those. I am recording my 10th video currently as you hear me right now, so if my energy has been a little bit depleted, that is because this is video number 10 of the day today, which is a lot. That is a lot of videos to make in a day. So thank you guys so much. I still wouldn't trade it for the world. Be sure to subscribe if you did enjoy the video and you want to see our daily videos to come. Be sure to hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload. Like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.